A new PlayStation 6 leak suggests Sony's next console will launch with a much simpler design than PS5 and feature a detachable disc drive. Sony's next generation console is slowly coming into focus, and over the past few months we've seen more and more leaks hinting at what the PlayStation 6 could look like under the hood. Reports have claimed big upgrades are on the way, with AMD's latest Zen 6 CPUs and RDNA 5 graphics tech powering the system. There's also been talk of major performance targets, like running games at 4K resolutions and up to 120 frames a second. I mean, that's pretty cool. It's kind of a given at this point, you know, a PS6 should be able to run 120 frames per second at this point. We had PS5 with most games hitting 60 frames per second, but even like graphic heavy games kind of struggling with that already, and it's been kind of a setback for this generation mostly, you know. I mean, you know, not games like, you know, competitive online games, those are always running at 60, but I'm saying graphic heavy games, newer games that are coming out, always trying to, like, they're struggling to hit the 60 frames target for most of the time in consoles, which is not what they promised before this current gen launch. They said most of the games, like most games, will be able to hit the 60 frames per second target. We are getting performance modes, true, but by sacrificing the graphic fidelity. PS5 Pro has kind of managed to come a little bit closer to the target that they initially intended by having like a balance mode where you get a bit of both, but that's still not either here or there, right? We need more. So I think PS6 has high expectations to be hitting these higher resolutions and graphical fidelity and, you know, higher frames per second. You know, ray tracing is quite heavy graphically, and even a lot of developers are trying to not use it as much because how time consuming to make them and expensive they are to include in games. You know, most notably recently, Battlefield 6 said they're not going to be using ray tracing in their game. It's a game that's coming out in 2025, not using ray tracing, a big AAA title. But I'm not surprised to hear that, you know, I'm not surprised at all, because if they're going to have a better game by not including ray tracing and it's going to run smoother, so be it. I think that's what, you know, most players would want from their game. So yeah, I can't complain, dude. But the PS6 might not be just one service. Rumors suggest Sony is also developing a full handheld companion console, codenamed Canis? But I don't know if I'm saying that right, but yeah, which could launch alongside the main system. All of this we need to take with a grain of salt, obviously. Detachable disk drive sounds like something that might, I mean, it is very plausible at this point, given the PS Pro. I don't think PS Pro actually has a disc version. It's just only digital only version, right? So they're trying to move people away from physical copies as much as possible, because obviously, you know, for developers and also publishers alike, having digital copies, people buying digital copies mean more money for them. You know, you can't trade them. You know, each person need to have their own copy. You can't share them. So that's the future that we're moving towards, right? So it's that's what we're getting, unfortunately. I don't know how ready we are here in Australia to actually move to that future. I, for one, actually do prefer to get physical copies as much as possible, especially for consoles. I think PC is a little bit different. PC people like to buy on Steam as much as possible and, you know, build their library. But I don't know whether that's something still applicable for consoles when it comes to consoles, especially PS5 and Xbox X, Series X, because especially when it comes to games like, you know, linear story games, you rather just buy a copy and play it and trade it and buy something else, or like you sell it back or something like that, right? Because there's no value, there's no replayability value in those games. So once you're done with the game, you just get rid of it unless you are one of the collectors, which most people are not. So I am not a big fan of this future where your only option is to buy a digital copy. It's a future with less options, and you're kind of locked into their ecosystem when it comes to buying games, which is not great. You don't have the option of buying it from multiple sources where it's cheaper. You just lose that option, and I don't know how I feel about that. They make it sound like more choice to the players, but is it really though? Like, that's what I am concerned about. It's not really more choice for the players, right? It's less choice, which is kind of unfortunate. It's kind of unfortunate. Let me know what you guys think about this. What's your stand on having digital only consoles and not having the option to buy physical copies? The fact that they're doing a detachable disk drive is kind of like, yeah, I understand that it is giving option, but it is one step further removed from having that option built in as a default choice. It's an option now, right? They're going to be selling this detachable disk drive separately. It's not going to come included. That'll suck. So that just means if you want to do physical copies, you're just going to have to buy the disk drive separately, which is bizarre, It's so bizarre. When it comes to movies and stuff, it's no longer, consoles are not really seen as entertainment systems anymore, because you got smart TVs that can stream everything that you need, and people have largely moved away from buying Blu-rays and stuff like that. So the need to actually have your console double as a Blu-ray player, you no longer need that anymore. I understand, but still, less choice for the players in terms of how you acquire your games and how you keep your games. That's a matter of concern that everyone needs to be talking more about. I mean, this is kind of where delisted games and the gaming preservation stems from. The whole stop killing games movement is part of that as well. It's something to keep an eye on. How this progress and what they're gonna end up doing. I, for one, actually believe that more and more people are trying to at least move away from consoles and actually go back to PCs. But the thing is, PC gaming is expensive when it comes to actually having a good PC build. Games can be cheaper for sure, like on Steam and Epic Game Store, and mainly Steam. It is definitely much cheaper, but it's not something everyone can afford. And consoles, that's where the consoles are seen as the more affordable option. But are they gonna be as affordable as they once was? I'm not sure. Like, even PS5 just currently put up their prices like 5 years after launch. Usually we see the prices go down after launch, many years after. Now we're like halfway into the current gen cycle, and they put up the prices instead of lowering it, which is so weird. We haven't seen this happen before, so very concerning. Let me know what you guys think. If you think that we should be actually getting rid of physical discs altogether, and we don't need that, and you're happy with just having a digital console and not having the option to have disk drive. If you're fine with that, let me know. I would like to know what you think. If it's just me or if it's just the majority's opinion, I would like to know. So let me know.